Elite Dungeon 4 is probably the most profitable dungeon to run right now. Now, a lot of people just skip the dungeon and go directly to Zamorak, as yes, it is more gold per hour in comparison. That being said, out of all the Elite Dungeons, Elite Dungeon 4 with Lucky Charms is by far the most profitable dungeon out of them all. To clear a few things up, I am talking about running 3 of these dungeons per hour, which is absolutely high level and not easy to do. And I'm also talking about factoring in the Zamorak drops. Of course, you still have to do this, as if you look at other dungeons, you are also of course factoring in the fact that you can get an Elite Eldritch Crossbow drop at the Ambassador, Ancient Scales at Seriu, and of course the codexes and the energies from ED2, the Blackstone Dragon. Elite Dungeon 4 competes with all 3 dungeons purely on the dungeon loot itself if you're using Lucky Charms. That is because these slivers here, specifically these slivers of pain, are worth a fortune. So in this video, I'll be showing you my method of running the dungeon to get 3 runs per hour, including Zamorak kills. It is worth noting this is all done in normal mode, as running the dungeon on a higher end rage takes a lot longer as everything scales up in health. Completing the dungeon run and Zamorak at this enrage gives you a 1 in 75 drop rate at Zamorak for a unique item. Okay, with all the introductory information out of the way, let's get started. Okay, so before we talk about the dungeon, we of course need to talk about gear. I want to make it clear that doing this dungeon is difficult. You do need good gear, and so the gear presets that I'm going to be showing you are incredibly expensive. I have 2 presets, one for Zamorak and one for the dungeon. The first preset is going to be for the dungeon. In here, you have the regular stuff you would expect. I have potions, I have overloads, I have adrenaline potions, any switches that I need, and that's pretty much what it is from there. The unique things are going to be the minion mines, the essence of finality, which has a Statius Warhammer. You don't need this, but it is useful, and the Lucky Charm. Equipped, I'm using 3 pieces of Crypt Bloom, the helm, the body, and the legs. This dungeon shreds you. Crypt Bloom makes it a lot easier. I'm using a Wen book to help clear out any trash mobs, and I have a Corroming switch on my defender. I use Corroming with Greater Chain. This will help you clear the dungeon so fast. I'm not sure you can get the same speeds with any other combat style. I've not tested it, but with Corroming 4 Greater Chain, it is absolutely possible. I also use Cinderbane gloves here and the Blaster Fusion boots, as you will be using poison throughout the dungeon, and you will also be using detonate a lot because you are trying to clear mobs very quickly. As for the rest of the stuff, you can probably just copy like the potions and the food and stuff nice and easily and understand what's going on there. I use a Channeler's Ring instead of a Reaver's Ring because Channeler's Ring doesn't lower your accuracy, and that obviously helps for the demons. The way killing the demons work is the higher your accuracy is, the more damage you will deal to them, and you can never miss on them. That's why I also bring a Statius Warhammer and a Gothic Staff in my Essence of Finality. I will use both on all the demons to kill them off nice and easy. Okay, so that is the dungeon preset, and then finally I have a Zamorak preset which I swap to when I get to Zamorak, of course. This is just a regular old Zamorak preset. There's nothing special about it. It doesn't have the main stuff that I mentioned before, like the mines and whatnot. It's more food. There's a Portent of Life there for anyone wondering about what that is, and other than that, it's just DPS. I'm using a Grimoire instead. I'm using Carapac Wrist Wraps instead because obviously Cinderbanes don't work. So otherwise, it's just bring whatever gear gets you the kill fastest. It's Zamorak at this point. Final mention for gear and abilities and stuff, Magma Tempest is incredibly useful in helping you get through this fast, and of course Greater Chain and Omni Power with the Zook Cape is incredibly helpful as well. You are going to struggle to get 3 runs an hour without these things, in my opinion, so if you don't have them, as I mentioned earlier, this is a high level guide. The requirements are high. That being said, you can still run the dungeon without them. It will just be slower. 2 runs an hour probably possible though, but of course I have not personally tested it without using that stuff. Okay, so gear covered as quickly as possible. Let's get into the actual dungeon. Okay, so what we're going to do for this guide is go from room to room that actually takes a little bit of effort to clear, and I'm going to show you how I would clear that room. This is going to show you the fastest way that I personally can find to get through the dungeon. If you are looking for specifically a path on where to run, like from start to finish, I'll link a video in the description and you can watch that, where I run through and show the exact like left turn, right turn, under this tunnel sort of thing on how to do it. This video is more going to be on efficient ways of clearing the mobs so you can get through the dungeon a lot quicker once you do actually know the path already. But of course that information is still available if you need it. There will be a video link in the description showing you exactly the path that you need to take if you still need to learn that first. Okay, so the first barrier has 4 mages and a healer will walk around from the other side of the room. You want to use Greater Chain on one of the front mages and use Omni Power or Wild Magic to clear those off. Kill them as quick as you can and then finish off by killing the mage as well. The reason you kill the mage is he will heal things in the next room and it's just going to make it a pain in the ass. You always want to make sure you clear these healers. After you've killed all of those off, you Surge and Bladed Dive to move towards the next barrier, which is around a corner. Standing where you see me standing now will pull all of the things in the room together, and you can use Magma Tempest Tempest to throw down more AoE to help clear these out. Use Greater Chain and Detonate and focus on the red road people in this room, as they are going to be the ones that open the door. Once through, you want to surge all the way down to the bottom and hide in the back of this room. The reason you do this is it will pull everything nice and close together, and when they do get close together, you can drop Magma Tempest again and then go back out and use your Greater Chain and finish off clearing things. You're usually going to want to pair Greater Chain with Omni Power to get the most out of it. Once all of these are dead, you'll move into the room with the first demon. There will be a healer by the stairs that you want to kill off immediately, and then get on the demon and apply things like your Gothic Staff or your Statius Warhammer to help kill him off quickly. Keep in mind you can use Dominion Mines on all demons as well. You want to make sure you're using Greater Chain on this demon as well, as there is other things in this room you will need to kill to get through. If you don't have the door open once the demon is dead, you want to kill the archer that is by the stairs. This will open the barrier at the top. Once that's open, head through to the next room. In the next room before the barrier, you're going to have to clear out everything in this room. To do this, what I like to do is drop a Magma Tempest as I'm running down the stairs in the middle of the room. That way you can get some more AoE off, and the guy from upstairs will follow you down anyway. Use Greater Chain, kill it off as quick as you can, and then move into the next room. This one's a little tricky. Surge down the bottom or walk down the bottom and aggro everything in the room. Then immediately surge back to the top where you walked through and let everything walk together. You can drop Magma Tempest when they start to group up, and then head down, use things like Detonate or Greater Chain to clear the rest off, and then move into the room with the demon. This room has 2 healers by the barrier. You want to focus on killing those first. You can Greater Chain on them and then Omni Power, and then just make sure you kill them off. The mage in the side room isn't a healer, so you can ignore them until the end if you want to. I like to use Dominion Mines and my Gothic Staff on the demon, kill that off as quick as you can, and then work on the mage, and that'll open the next room. In here, drop a Magma Tempest on the archer and surge past immediately. This will pull the Hellhounds together, and then you can just use things like Greater Chain and Wild Magic or something like that to finish this off. Once done with this, surge immediately down all the way to the end using Bladed Dive as well if you want to, and get to the next barrier. You're going to have a full line of Water Fiends. You only need to kill the last 4. Use Greater Chain on one of the second to last Water Fiends, the one you can see me using now, or the one opposite it, and then use Omni Power on that, and you'll open the door immediately. Run all the way down the long hallway, ignoring everything along the way until you reach the demon that is next to the barrier right at the end. You need to kill this demon and the 2 Hellhounds that are going to follow you down. Stand by the barrier and let the Hellhounds group around the demon, drop your Dominion Mines, use Greater Chain and Detonate or Omni Power or whatever, and kill everything off, and then move down the pathway towards the tunnel. Now at the tunnel, you don't need to kill these mages, but I like to do it as it only takes a second, and they will follow you all the way into the next room, so it makes life a little bit easier to kill them here. I just use Magma Tempest and Greater Chain, and then move on. Very important, don't use Surge or Bladed Dive while walking through this tunnel, as you're going to use it in just a second. As soon as you reach the door to this next room, you want to be using Bladed Dive and Surge to where you see me going here. Then walk inside and hide behind the bucket that you see me hiding behind. This is going to pull everything in this room over nice and tight together so you can use Magma Tempest, AoE, and just go crazy. I like to focus just on the demons here, because so long as you have Magma Tempest down, you've used Greater Chain on one of the demons, and then an Omni Power first, all of the healers will be killed straight away, so you don't have to worry about trying to pick them out in the crowd of enemies. Just make sure Magma Tempest is down, Greater Chain the demon, Omni Power, and they'll be dead. From here, just focus the demons, kill them off, and go upstairs as soon as the barrier is open. Okay, now it's time to focus on the jailer. We're going to surge down the bottom of this hallway and just kill the final 2 mages that are going to open this door. Use Greater Chain on them or whatever, just get them killed, the door will open. Immediately go inside and kill the jailer. I like to use Staff Spec here and then swap to Blood Barrage, as a lot of things do group around you. This will keep you alive. If not, then just kill him off and stay safe. Once he hits the threshold of health, he will teleport away, which will go upstairs. You want to run back down the hallway, luring everything together, using things like Magma Tempest on the group, using Bleeds on the group, and then focusing on the ones in the red robes until the barrier opens. Using Greater Chain and Omni Power on these to clear them out as well is important. Make sure you kill off all of the red robed ones as quick as you can. As soon as the barrier opens, ignore everything else and go upstairs. Up in this room, there is going to be a healer. Make sure you kill that first, then kill off the others to move through the barrier, and then work on the jailer again. Ignore everything else, just kill the jailer until he teleports away again. Once he teleports, then head back down the stairs and then up the staircase that is very close by. As you're running up the staircase, drop a Magma Tempest in the middle, and then Greater Chain one of the targets and use a Omni Power to clear this room. Once done here, you want to head to the right and down a tiny staircase, DPS the jailer again until he teleports away. Something you can do here, and I like to do, is lure the jailer towards where you're going to jump down. That way you can DPS while keep moving to save a few seconds. Once you jump down, head back into the main room of the prison and find the jailer for the last time. Here you can kind of do a little bit of a trick where you get his health a little bit lower and then finish him off with an omni power and a wild magic. This will stop him from spawning the things that he will summon as he gets low. Otherwise, don't panic about it, just kill him off and the room will be opened. You can ignore the things he summons anyway. Head back up the stairs where you can see my character going now. Go around the right, through the barrier, ignore everything else, jump down the scaffolding into the next room. In this room, you want to bladed dive and surge around the corner behind the cart that's on fire, which will be next to a healer. Drop your magma tempest on the floor just behind the healer and then use greater chain and clear up everything else in this room. The reason you bladed dive and surge here is to make everything else in the room aggro to you and come nice and close together. This next bit is a little bit long, so bear with. Kill the greater demon savage as soon as you get through the room, as it's going to be right next to the barrier. This is the only demon you need to kill in this section. Don't forget to use your gothic staff and your hammer or your demon slayer ability, as this is going to help a lot. Once you've done this, you want to head to the right hand side and then surge and bladed dive into this room that you can see me going into now. Stand around the corner where you can see I stand, and everything, all of the mages will pull nice and close together, and then you can drop a magma tempest right in the middle, followed by a greater chain and a detonate, and that should clear off most of these. Kill any stragglers, that will open the barrier, head down the little bridge, activate the crystal, and then go immediately across to the other side. As you run through here, you can use reflect to reduce any damage or anything, but run all the way to the end right by the barrier. As you get towards the barrier, drop another magma tempest just down the bottom of the staircase, as you can see me drop mine, and then just use any AoE that you have, including tsunami, detonate, greater chain, to clear off all of these. Once the barrier opens, run into the little house just on the other side of it, activate the crystal that you can see me activating, and then teleport out. The reason you teleport out here is you've made a checkpoint and you can come back to the actual church. Okay, so teleport back to the Church of Chaos, and then you have the mini boss to face. In this room, you're going to notice there are mages around the outside of this. You can ignore most of them, but I would suggest killing the first two, as you can see me killing here, as they will be aggroed in the fight when the demon do spawn. The rest of them don't aggro at all, so as long as you stand in the middle of the room when doing the fight, the rest of them, you can just ignore them and it's all good. Start the boss fight by clicking on the portal and then killing the mage that will spawn in the middle. This boss fight does have a few mechanics. You want to watch out for the circles on the floor, but you can just stand in the exact same tile and you'll be absolutely fine. You will tank a couple of hits, but just use resonance or use reflect when they're about to hit you and you'll be okay. Each time you get the boss's health to a threshold, they will summon a demon. One demon first, and then the second time they'll summon two demons. Killing the demons off brings the boss back. The other mechanic that you're going to get is a bar above your head, and once it expires, you're going to drop a smoke on the floor. I would suggest surging to the other side of the room to drop the smoke, then surging back, and then just finishing off the boss. Once the boss is dead, go through the portal to the next room. In this room, you have a demon in the middle. You want to ignore him after you've aggroed him just once. Surge towards him and then turn around and kill the first three mages in an anti-clockwise fashion, like you see me doing here. By the time you've killed the third mage, it is very likely that demon that you aggroed has consumed or eaten or devoured whatever the other three mages in the room. He eats these to heal himself even if you don't damage him. Once the other three have been eaten and you've killed the three yourself, the door will open to the next room. Head up here and surge and bladed dive into the corner there you see me go. Focus on killing just the demon up here, and by the time you've killed that, the demon from down below has probably followed you up and then eaten the other two mages up here as well, helping you get through. You can ignore the mini boss demon that you aggroed earlier. As soon as the demon upstairs and the two mages with him has been killed, you can move through to Zamorak. And that is what brings you to the end of the actual dungeon run itself. As you can see, by the time I finished Zamorak, I'd still had 40 minutes left on my aura, so getting 3 runs an hour here is absolutely possible. Also consider the fact that I completely forgot to use my demonic slayer ability while running this dungeon, so it could have been done quicker as well. And there we go, that brings us to the end of the full Elite Dungeon 4 run guide that I wanted to make for you guys for quite a while now. I hope you found it useful. I know it's fast paced. I will be making timestamps as best as I can to actually break it up into different sections. It probably won't be room by room, but it will be in like little sections that make sense together, in my opinion. And hopefully that does make it more easy to follow. But if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I will answer as many as I absolutely can. But running this dungeon, in my opinion, is hella fun, and it is really good profit as long as you have have those lucky charms with you. Running the dungeon alone is more profit than any of the other elite dungeons, and then if you add on top of these Zamorak drops as well, the fact that you get a 1 in 75, which is still pretty rare, but considering an ECB piece is 1 in 55, it's not all that bad. Going off of the rates when I did a loot from 10 hours video, I'm quite comfortable in saying this dungeon, as of making this video right now, is over 55 million GP per hour just on the dungeon run alone. Factor in the rares and you are looking at some incredible GP per hour for an elite dungeon. Anyway, like I said, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please do leave a like. It took a long time to make. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new around here, and other than that, I'll catch you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.